So third eye is not a physical thing. It is just that if your energies reach a certain peak within you, you have a new clarity of vision of life. You see everything from a completely different dimension. So you start seeing things, it's an inner eye, we say. We can say you can turn it inward or outward, whichever way you turn it. So these eyes are only outward. You can't roll your eyeballs inward and see what's within you, isn't it? So third eye is both ways. If you want, you can turn it inward or you can turn it outward. Whichever way, you are seeing life beyond the normal limitations of your perception. Your perception has risen beyond the physical. That is the third eye. Why is it connected to a particular spot in your body? Among the 7 chakras, the 6th dimension is called as Ajna. Ajna is located slightly above where the eyebrows meet. There are 3 dimensions attached to it. These 3 dimensions are traditionally named after Shiva, 3 different forms of Shiva. But these 3 are actual experiential points in the body, where if your energy moves to that point, your experience of life alters itself. The whole process of whatever spiritual process you're doing, consciously or unconsciously, is fundamentally to move to a higher plane of perception, isn't it? Yes? You call it God, you call it Kundalini, you call it yoga, you call it what you want. But fundamentally, the whole thing is to raise your perception from a limited physical perception to a higher possibility.
Many people are confused about this concept. They think intuition is spiritual practice. Many people think intuition is intellect. Intuition is not intellect, it is beyond intellect. The people who are well-versed, the people who are very intelligent, not necessarily they can have intuition. Intuition cannot be practiced. Intuition is not a technique given to someone. It is not a method you can apply to something. Intuition merely happened, and it can happen to anyone. It doesn't have condition. It happens to everyone sometimes, but they are not aware about it. If you think someone and suddenly the doorbell ring, and the same person when you open the door whom you are thinking about, or you are thinking about someone and your phone bell rings and it is the same person, but you are not aware about it, that it is intuition. Muhammad, the Prophet, according to Islam, he was an illiterate person, doesn't know how to write, how to read. According to Islam, an angel appeared in front of him, and an angel showed him something, writing. And he said, read it. He got afraid that I cannot read. Angel said again, read it. He said, I cannot read. Angel said third time, read it. And he got courage. He was trembling, shaking. He got so much afraid. And he suddenly read, and it was the first ayat of Quran.
Okay, and you can also go back to ancient Egypt or Kemet, where they had the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Heru, which was a symbol of royalty, protection, health, the brow chakra. Okay? And the third eye chakra, which is the Ajna chakra, right? Ajna in the Sanskrit means one who commands, is all about imagination, intuition, and clairvoyance, seeing beyond the visible, clairsentience, clear feeling, clairaudience, clear hearing. You are now going beyond your five senses.
And here we come to an understanding of what we call the epiphysis, the pineal gland. The pineal gland is that part of ourselves which is what I call the first eye. That first eye essentially is the eye that is the foundation to the two eyes. Okay? It is the eye itself that where the myth of the Cyclops came from. The Cyclops is nothing more than a mythological creature. Everyone who has raised their kundalini and have become one over the beast becomes the Cyclops. And the Cyclops essentially is you coming to the one eye. And in the Bible it speaks to that. Somewhere I believe in Luke, which means light in itself. I believe in Luke it says, Jesus supposedly says, for you to be, for you to see heaven or to be in heaven, thine eyes must become one. What else were they talking about? No Christian ever speaks about what that means. They just gloss that over, or they never even speak about it. Because they know in this age, the so-called New Age, they know what we talk about the first eye. But they call it the third eye. I don't call it the third eye. We don't call it the third eye here in our university. We call it the first eye. Because it is the eye that we are trying to ascend back to give us the inner vision.
We're not coming to say that these individuals have knowledge of the unseen or that these individuals have knowledge of the unseen world. Nay, rather this is from Firaasah, this is from visual acumen, this is from the deep, strong, keen perception that they have. This is the deep insight that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed them with. Likewise we too, if we work on our hearts, if we work on our iman, Allah the Almighty will bless us too with Firaasah, with the deep insight where we will be able to see things a lot clearer.
I do not ask to see, I do not ask to know, I ask only to be used. That is one of the prayers of the mystic. And so we know nothing, but we are given what we need. It's very beautiful how it happens. It just, you need to know something, it's suddenly just there in the mind. It comes from somewhere else. Like an intuition. For most people, their access to this level is through intuition. Suddenly you know something you didn't know before. And it's just there in your mind. You don't know where it comes from. And for the mystic, this is our state of being. Yes, we learn practical skills, how to drive a car, but from a spiritual point of view, the real wisdom comes from somewhere else. It comes from the beloved, it comes from this plane where all the knowledge is. You can go there in meditation. Everything you need to know is there. All the knowledge of the past, all the knowledge of the future. It's just there. And you have access to it, and you use it where you need to use it, or where you're allowed to use it, because when you have access to that level of knowledge, there are very strict laws about how you're allowed to use it, because you can know somebody's future, but you don't want to tell them their future, because it would interfere with their journey through life.
And we know that the Holy Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad spent days in meditation. Every month he would go to Ghar Hira to seclude himself and immerse himself in the presence of Allah in a complete state of meditation, not just for an hour or two, but for days at a time. And it was during these states of meditation, these states of presence, these states of complete total surrender, that he was given revelation, that Jibreel alayhi salam came to him with the revelation of the Holy Quran. Islam is an ocean of spiritual light and knowledge. It is not just a physical religion. It is not just a superficial topical religion. We are not going to get closer to Allah by simply observing outward forms. The path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, The path to your Lord, your Creator, is a journey inward, deeper and deeper into yourself. And this can only be experienced. This can only be experienced when we close our eyes, when we seclude our vision from the outer world and turn inward.
All the masters of the past and all prophets of the past and present, they do teach nothing but meditation. But here we have to understand what is meditation. Meditation means the experiencing of your true nature, which is pure consciousness. When Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is within, he was referring to the meditative state, to the godly state. Meditation means experiencing your godly nature. Now, hasn't Jesus said that, is it not written in your law that ye are the sons of God? When I proclaim myself the Son of God, you are lapidating me? Which means that potentially we are all sons and daughters of God, which automatically means that we are potentially divine. So definitely, absolutely, Jesus taught meditation, and to support what I'm telling you, read in the Bible, it is written, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like a hidden treasure. To have it, you have to dig, to remove the soil, the dust and the trash, then you can have it. But what did Jesus meant when he was referring to the digging? Where do you dig? Do you go at the backyard of your house, you start digging? Do you go in a church and you start digging? Or do you dig in the scriptures? What will you gain there? You will gain nothing but words. The digging is definitely what the ancient rishis and munis, what the ancient mystics have been saying, whether it was Jesus, Gurdjieff, Osho, Krishnamurti, Swami Paramananda, and all the masters said that you have to go inside. You have to dig inside.